you know, and you see all the set pieces, the soundtrack, the acting, the choreography.
That music was good, man.
Yeah, it has this very kind of steampunky vibe, or future, like a modern steampunk vibe. And then they throw in the fucking body horror, dude. And it works. It flows. The writing is really good. I really like the dialogue. Like, to kind of touch on what James is saying, I really love the chemistry between Stem, his how do you say, like his subconscious that's helping him, you know, Logan Gray's the main character, move his body or whatever. Their interactions are very funny and kind of keep the film
they keep it from getting stale, kind of. I think it keeps it from getting stale.
Like there's that little edgy, like comedy. It has that little element of comedy that keeps you there, you know. It's not too dark, it's not too gritty, but then it gives you all of that at the same time.
It's almost a good guy, bad guy, especially towards the ending of the film.
Especially towards the end.
Yeah, it's a good guy, bad guy, but it's just you. You're having, you know, fighting with yourself. Man, I want to say so much about it, but I feel like I don't want to spoil anything.
Can't be spoiling it.
When did we say we weren't going to spoil the movie of this show?
I don't know.
So, we're spoiling it now.
All right, so basically, this is your spoiler alert. Pause this shit and then go watch the movie. So,
we'll say that we're doing this because it's a new film. But yeah, it's, you know,
pretty new.
It's still fresh. It's certified fresh too.
So you should watch it.
No, you should check it out definitely, and then come back to us and listen to this episode and see if you agree or not.
True. What would you guys rate the movie out of 1 through 10? 9. Vic?
I would have to agree. I liked it 9.
And what about James?
I think I'd have to agree with it. I'd be, follow the consensus and go with 9.
And I think so as well.
How did you seeing it the first time and then watching it again?
I noticed there was a few things that I like, dialogue and stuff, because I got to see it with subtitles. Obviously, you don't get to do that in the theater. So there was a few things that I didn't pick up on that I missed that I thought actually made the movie better for me.
Watching it the second time?
Yes. So, yeah, I was glad that I got to see it, and see it with you guys' funny commentary is always awesome.
Yeah, they should have left the car alone, dude.
It would have...
Take the Firebird, was it? A Firebird?
It was a Firebird, like a 74 Firebird or something like that.
Yeah, I love how they brought old elements in the future. Like, that was pretty cool. I like when they do that in movies, especially.
Well, that's really what the whole purpose of the film, I think, ends up being, is that there's this guy that was kind of born in the wrong time. He's this gearhead. He doesn't really like to participate in any of the new technology that's around. He just hangs out in his fucking garage. He, drinks beers. He dresses differently than everyone else. He's this guy that everybody thinks like, like, who's this dumbass mechanic?
Exactly.
And that's why he ends up being the perfect host.
Yeah. Even the bar he goes to is off the grid. The bar, what's it called? Old Bones?
Yeah. I actually I like that that premise, is that they pick him because he's like this person that nobody's going to be expecting.
He's vintage. He's old school. He's fucking old.
He's not mechanically enhanced.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he didn't drive that futuristic car, too.
He didn't like it. He doesn't like it. He likes to be in control and
And for good reason, too, because that fucking car turns Johnny Cab and gets all broke and then fucking crashes. So yeah, that shit was all hacked in a setup. I thought it was crazy how they had police drones, but it was true.
You can hack them.
That's coming around, man. That's going to be here in no time, I guarantee.
The military already has those, right?
Yeah. With facial recognition in Japan or something like that.
But I thought our military
have their own cameras in the street.
They had them over in in
Skynet
and Iraq and stuff, right?
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
Yeah, they have they just but they run it through a software program. Same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as instantaneous as it is in the future movies.
Yeah.
but like they get the picture and then
it's just conditioning, man. It's conditioning for us for what's really going to happen. So once we see it happening, it's like, oh, it's like from that movie Upgrade, and it's happening outside.
And it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late, man. I don't know. I think it's a picture that's letting you know what can be the possibilities in the future, you know, for us as humans, co-living with these body mods as far as modding. I mean, we already have it. We have Siri that we talk to on our iPad, from our iPhone. It's just becoming that physical element, like a synth, like from Blade Runner, but in this element, it's showing you that it needed the STEM thing needed a host more than anything. It needed a pure human body. So, I guess how he said, you know, these computers are the future, but can they do it? Can they do everything though? You know, can they play football?
That was like one of the main key points of the movie. Can they do everything?
Yeah, they can't. They need a human host.
I really like that too. That they kind of put in that that warning, that real subliminal message, like a warning of the technology to come.
Exactly.
You know, like as you were saying, and I really dig that. It's like
it's a subtle undertone of what's ahead in the future.
What we're gonna get to as people, you know, or
we're pretty close
as a nation
with like prosthetic limbs and stuff. I mean, they're super advanced already. It's just a matter of time before
they perfect it.
Hearts and
I don't know if you guys heard this, but just getting off subject real quick. There's these two AI robots that they have right now, and one of them's from the Middle East, and I think the other one's from like
England or something,
Norway or England. I can't remember, but they put them together, and these two AI robots started communicating with each other in a binary language that no human could uncode. And so these robots adjusted to themselves. They knew what they were. They both knew that they were AI.
They recognized each other.
They recognized that they were AI, and they were, quote unquote, sending each other stuff, almost conspiring to not let humans know. And once the people there started to notice, they cut that shit off because they didn't know what the fuck was going on. They just know that these robots
fucking
were
the beginning.
Exactly. They were like,
it was like encrypted coding.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, we're far from it, but I think we're playing with it right now. We know it's fire, we know it burns, but we don't know how to harness it all the way, you know?
Nice.
It's crazy to see people thinking that and putting it to film and saying, hey, we can probably do this.
Yeah, try giving them the ideas, man.
And it's the ideas, you know? It's sparking, getting the gears going.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the basically the opening of the film where we meet the couple, kind of get a feel for their relationship, and then they kind of this kind of big catastrophe happens.
Yeah, and it just kind of like ended. No, like I was like, I felt like the love between them, and I was like, man, like it was just like,
you definitely get that feel though that of she's more in the now and he's more in what used to be. He
even says like I'm okay with the fact that you're the breadwinner, or like you wear the pants in the house. I think he said that like more than once, but you can see just day-to-day life, and she was more job oriented, and he was more like, hey, I worked on my car today, you want to see it? She was like, nah, I don't have no idea what you're talking about. You can see the disconnection right there, but you can also see the connection of how much he loved her, and the way,
in spite of her not having those those
old school
relations,
you could see that he was happy with what he had, but I thought it was real fucked up the way they killed her. Sorry, spoiler. You get that in the trailer, whatever. How they killed her, and how he it was all purposely set up so he can fucking feel that and see her die right in front of him. Like, he couldn't do shit. He was fucking paralyzed, and all he can do is just watch her die, dude. That shit hurt. That shit hurt.
Yeah.
When you guys think of what's his name, Aaron or what's his Enron?
Just Aaron.
Aaron.
It's just spelled differently.
Yeah.
ERON.
That guy was nuts, dude. To even
But he's
make that thing.
the quote unquote brain of everything.
Yeah.
Or so you think.
I was close, man. Fucking
Yeah,
close.
close.
It's the classic story of the creator creating the monster and the monster killing
Tyrell,
the creator.
dude.
Frankenstein, dude.
Frankenstein, yeah, exactly. Upgrade your Frankenstein.
But basically, how do we start this?
So he's working on a car, and he works on cars for a living for rich people. He restores cars,
Sells them,
I guess.
right?
Restores them and sells
Restores
them.
old vehicles for rich people.
And he's married to this lady who works for a technology company. And then he basically says, "Hey, there's this guy I want to introduce you to. He's he's one of my clients or something that I'm building a car for." And she, they introduce each other. She recognizes who he is by his name because he's some sort of bigwig in the technology field. And she says, "Well, I work for such and such Cobalt company, and we're starting to be,
We're
like
catching on to you."
And he's like, "No, you're not. Let me show you why."
Yeah.
And then that's when he releases Hell.
Yeah.
The stem.
He introduces STEM to them, and he kind of explains the capabilities that it can do and help people, basically.
And it's cool because the whole time you're kind of seeing how Gray is kind of like whatever he's on the whatever about it because they're really technology savvy, and he's like, whatever, it's just a fucking computer chip. Can it really help humans? Can it play football?
Can it play football? Can it have a baby?
Can it have a baby?
And you know what's crazy is that during the movie is fucking Stem relied on Gray to do something for him. I don't know if you caught that where he's like, "Do something, Gray."
Yeah.
And he had to do something, which is piss off the guy off, the guy that looked like he's from Black Klansman. Oh, dude.
Oh, the
fucking
yeah. You see how the Stem. How he says like he does rely on the host where he's like I can control your body but you have to do something like he didn't really have power. But anyways, we're getting off
Skipping.
Skipping.
Did you notice how because Stem only controlled him from like below his neck down. So when you see he would
look away.
He would have to turn his head. Yeah. So that's actually Gray turning his head. Like when in the fight scenes and stuff, he can't control his head. Stem can't control his head.
And he can't control his thoughts or he can't read his thoughts. That's crazy.
So I thought that was interesting because you can see the body moving one way and his head is like doing something else because he's like, what the fuck is going on right now? You know? His facial
expressions are hilarious.
He's like, please stay down, please stay down, please stay down.
Yeah, let's get to that part, man. So what happens?
So basically, they go to see Aaron. And so we were introduced to him, and then they give him the car that Gray was working on, and then they go on their way. Suddenly, the car is hacked. They go back to Gray's kind of old bad neighborhood. And they're in a crash. All of a sudden, these kind of mercenary-looking guys come out of nowhere. You see a little fucking hand cannon shit on one of them, and bioengineering type of shit. They immediately cut them out of the car, drag them into the dirt, and what's his name? Fisk?
I don't remember his first name. But his name's Fisk. He kind of looks like a Nazi.
Yeah. He's the movie makes him look like the main player, I think, of that gang, pretty much. Yeah. And he immediately goes to the girlfriend, and he's like, you don't. You look at me as a piece of shit on your shoe, you know.
He's immediately the villain.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just some uneducated piece of trash or whatever. Yeah. And he kind of intimidates her for a little bit, and then fires off one shot to the sternum.
Yeah.
Which is a fatal blow. she falls back, and then he walks over to Gray and uses what looks like a gun, a futuristic pistol,
on the back of his neck,
and severs his spine, so he can't move. But so he's forced to watch the